All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto our power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Chakodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us His truth and who also rule well. Peace and salutations to those of the hopeful elect. Just want to do a quick lesson. All right, going into, the chariots of Yahweh Shemal Shai, the angels of the Lord. All right, they're getting ready to show themselves even more. You know, there's always like a fluctuation, from what I've noticed of my short time of, being in this truth. Like the chariots, they'll be popping up and then they'll fall back for a time period. And then it'll be another season where the chariots would just start popping up, making all kind of, pretty much making a noise in the earth. And then they'll fall back, and, as of recently, the chariots, the sightings have been increasing, but, we're getting ready to see the chariots like never before. We're at the end, Yahweh Shemal Shai. All right, he's finna show out. All right, brothers are getting ready to see stuff we've never seen before, going from spiritual power. But in this topic, I'm touching on the chariots. All right, brothers is getting ready to see the chariots up close. Brothers, like that. Let me actually get the account. And I believe it's in 1 Kings or 2 Kings. You see that towards the end of 1 Kings or in the beginning of 2 Kings, where Elisha prayed. Let me see. Yep. 2 Kings 6 and 17. All right. I'm going to read up 2 Kings 6 and I'm going to start at 15 or I'm going to start at 14. Therefore sent he thither horses and chariots and a great host, and they came by night and compassed the city about. And when the servant of the man of the Most High was risen early and gone forth, behold, an host compassed the city, both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, Alas, my master, how shall we do? And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. All right, because we have, how they had that same, I got friends in high places. All right, well, we have Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai with us, the creator of existence itself and his own, Yahweh Shemawah Shai. All right, infinite power. And not only that, Yahweh Shemawah Shai has a standing army. The angels, all right, the men of the Lord, all right. Even the nuclear missiles is a part of Yahweh Shemal Shai's army because they're going to be used, for his purpose. But going into, the angels is a part of Yahweh Shemal Shai's army. There's more angels in the spiritual realm than there are people, souls on earth. Okay, there's an innumerable amount of angels, and one angel can destroy the earth. Okay, so there's more with us than there is with these carnal people, these carnal men on earth. Okay, and that's how we got to see it in this time. Seeing, we're going to be in the midst of dangers, in the midst of, the scriptures speak about the valley of the shadow of death. How we'll fear no man, fear no evil. All right. So it says, and he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. And when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord and said, smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha. And Elisha said unto them, this is not the way, neither is this the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom ye seek. But he led them to Samaria. So, yeah, that was pretty much continuing on down. But the point that I was trying to get was Elisha prayed, and the Lord opened the eyes of his servant, and he seen a whole bunch of chariots up close that was in the midst the whole time. The whole time they was there chilling, watching the whole ordeal, you know, and that's how it is continually. All right, the scriptures say that the eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom. Now, when I was written during that time, it was speaking of Israel, but you can apply that to this kingdom. All right, the eyes of the Lord are upon this kingdom. That's why when you look at so-called UFO charts, America has the most so-called UFO sightings because the Lord is watching this place. And the only reason why you can even report on so-called UFO sightings or U.A.P sightings is because the angels let you see them. All right, the Lord lets you see the angels. All right, and there's going to be more, you know, the chariots are so elusive, but they're going to start making a more of an impact. All right. And, you know, brothers are going to start seeing those angels up close, man. And the Lord is preparing our spirits, our minds to be able to see these things and not bug out, you know. And on top of that, those powers are with us. All right. As long as we, you know, remain within, you know, the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai. OK. Then Elisha also prayed when you read, you know, that was spiritual power, you know, but it was all from him praying to the Lord. You know, he smit them with blindness and they was able to, you know, escape. So in this time, you know, the chariots are going to have a big part. All right. In, you know, our pilgrimage when post America, you know, when America crashes and we're knee deep in martial law, which you've seen all these things come to pass. OK, let me get another precept. It's in Daniel 12. It says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. All right. So going up to the top where it says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, because the Lord is going to enhance that protection. All right. The chariots are going to get more hands on. All right. And, you know, which the Spirit was on me to speak about it, how there's going to be even more chariot sightings. And they're going to be wild. The Lord is going to astonish not only the earth, but the Lord is going to blow us away. All right. When the Lord shows, you know, the glory, the chariots are a part of Yahweh Shema Shai's glory. OK. And it says, you know, we're going into a time such as never was before. All right. The time of Jacob's trouble. So we're going to need that hedge of protection that comes, you know, with the angels under the orders of Yahweh Shema Shai. You know, even now the angels are in the midst. OK, you know, that veil from the third dimension, the Lord lifted that, or the Lord thinned out that veil to where, you know, the servant was able to see what was there. Just the chariots, they was already there, just chilling. All right. They're here amongst us. Is this, we can't see them because the veil of this third dimension is covering up the fourth dimension. All right. But the Lord can thin that veil, or the Lord can completely remove that veil, and you start seeing demons everywhere and angels too. All right. So we got to understand that Yahweh Shema Shai is constantly with us. His presence is constantly with us. We're never alone. All right. You know, when you read certain instances, when they're speaking of the angels, it says the man in all white and the inkhorn having, because the angels, they're there to spectate and bring the messages, bring the updates to Yahweh Shema Shai, even though Yahweh Shema Shai already know what's going on, but they're the messengers of the Lord. Another thing reminded me of the vision, I believe, Jacob, where he's seen a ladder, or, which could be interpreted as a staircase. And, he's seen angels going to and fro from the earth. That's literally happening. The angels, they're coming to and fro from the earth and leaving the earth and coming into the earth. They're going into Esau, Edom's, private no-fly zones, and the chariots, they do whatsoever they wish according to the will of Yahweh Shema Shai. So the angels, they definitely, and on top of that, we're talking about celestial beings. So, they're pure sentient, and they don't sleep, they don't get tired, they don't eat or drink, they don't have sex, they don't do the things that man do on earth in his fleshly body. So the angels, they're locked all the way in. Nothing gets past the eyes of Yahweh Shema Shai. Let me actually get that. Real quick. Yep, this is Sirach 23:19. It says, such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts. Yeah, and that's being America. The whole earth is a stage. All right, and Yahweh Shema Shai are the directors, and the angels are working behind the scenes, holding back the destruction. They're doing everything according to, prophecy. Okay. So, and then the Lord has the men of the Lord, the elect, those that are in the truth. All right. Breaking the fourth wall, so to speak, going into like the Matrix, how they was, they woke up from the Matrix. Now they was able to go in and go out, with that understanding. So, the Lord has given us the understanding of how he works. All right. So that, pretty much we're learning of Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay. With this truth, everything makes sense. What's going on in the earth. All right. And it also makes sense of the chariots. That's why the scriptures speak about, I believe it's in St. John. Jeremiah. Yep, this is Jeremiah chapter 2. And I'm going to start at 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. So speaking to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Seminole Indians, and Israelite foreigners. All right, the Lord is speaking directly to you, which the majority of our people in this time don't know what the fuck is going on because they reject the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Lord. It says, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. All right, because these people, they're not familiar with Yahweh Shema Shai. All right, the Lord didn't reveal himself unto these other nations. So they don't know how the Lord get down like that unless, the Lord is judging them. All right, so when we see, the so-called UFO sightings, because, most of the time when you see a chariot sighting, you just see like a orb, which from far away, it looks like a light. And you might see a dart across the sky or linger. The chariot pretty much letting himself be known. All right, but from our perspective, we see that, hey, those are chariots. All right, but, when you get close to those chariots, them chariots are huge. them chariots, they can shrink all the way down to a microscopic size, or they can be bigger than the planet. Which there was a chariot that was sighting that was actually documented. They said the chariot was bigger than the earth, which, through the spirit, we believe that was the Father ship, the ship that Yahweh Shai is gonna come back in. So when them chariots be up there, they look, like a small dot, but when you get real close up to them, you start, those chariots are really huge, and they're exerting a lot of energy and power. All right, but in this time, get ready to see them up close. And also sometimes you might see them, not an orb, you might see the actual ship itself. It might be metallic, and you have the different shapes, like the saucer, they have the roll shaped chariot where it looked like a cigar shape. The chariots, they come in any form or fashion. All right. And the Lord is imagine seeing a chariot real close up, and it reminded me of a vision that I had a few years ago. And I was sleeping, and I had a vision that I was in my front yard, and there was a cube shaped chariot that was real close. Like, I seen the whole structure. It was a cube shaped chariot. And, as it was in the air, it appeared as if this thing was a building. But, the way it moved, it was as light as a helium balloon. But when you're looking at it, it's like it kind of like threw you off, because this thing is supposed to weigh a ton. That's what it looks like. It's a giant, but then when it moved really fast in like a helium balloon, like it didn't weigh anything. And I had a vision of seeing it, and then it zoomed all the way off to where you couldn't see it no more. Like, it went so fast, it just zoomed all the way off, and that was like a faith booster, because those dreams like that, or those visions like that, it's only from Yahweh Shema Shai, and the chariot, that's the spirit. The car had to honk, and the chariot, I'm telling you, man, seeing, the chariot, the actual ship up close, and then the Lord defending you with it too. Like, we could be in a situation where we're surrounded by the Gurga troops, and then we pray to Yahweh Shema Shai in truth and sincerity, and the Lord will send a chariot. Everybody gonna be bugging out. The chariot starts zapping motherfuckers, but the chariot's there to protect you on your behalf. All right, that's the time we're in. All right, that's why it says, in that time that it says Michael, where it says in Daniel 12, Michael shall stand up, which Michael's one of the top angels, man. Was showing you that there's a ranking system amongst the angels. It's complete order in the spiritual realm underneath Yahweh Shema Shai. So, hey, man, we're coming into some great times. And also, not only are we going to see some stuff, the Lord is going to be showing Esau some more shit too. The war in heaven has to take place when Yahweh Shai returned, when the Lord destroyed all Esau's technology, his weapons, and all the armies of the earth are going to be in World War III when this happened. They're going to be in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat in the Middle East when these things happen, when the Lord, bring that destruction. So, like, leading up to that, the Lord going to be showing Esau, the more chariot sides. We might wake up one day, turn on the news, and the Lord got a chariot right in the middle of a big city, just sitting there, and it's breaking news. All right. But yeah, Lord's will, I don't want to ramble on. I'll close it out. I want to say, call all Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Chakwadash Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us His truth and who also rule well. Peace and salutation to those of the hopeful elect. Shalom and a Baba Ball.